We're now going to have the keynote, and I want to take a moment and the introduction of this gentleman is going to be made by someone way more important than me. My first ad manager, and a man that I am just tickled to call a friend, Mr. John Pepper.
Well, good evening, everyone. It's wonderful to be here. It's a pleasure. I did not know, of course, that Dimitri would make this address. And when I heard he would, I asked Ed if I might be able to say a few words about him that he wouldn't say about himself. First, let me tell you what a pleasure it is to be here with you all tonight and over the last 2 days. Anytime I'm in Geneva, I guess I think first of Sammy, and to have Doris here. Very, very special. I can't think of Geneva without Sammy. And to be with Ed and Marlise, Ed, with whom I had the privilege, fortune, challenge sometimes, of seriously spending half of my working career I spent working with Ed Arst. And that was a great gift. It was also a treat being here so that those of you who didn't know Francie now see why she really is the better half of this combination. That really. Being here also took me back to a book that I wrote shortly after I retired in 2005, and my favorite chapter in that book, if I had to pick one, I suppose, is called The Power of Community. And it talks in there about the importance of community to Procter & Gamble as a company. And in fact, as I thought about how I would introduce that chapter, I did it with a quote from an attendee of a former P&G'er at the 2003 Alumni event in Cincinnati. His name was Patrick Hill. By any chance would Patrick be here? I don't think so. Here's what Patrick Hill wrote. While my career took me away from the P&G family, my appreciation for the firm has never weakened, and my gratitude for it, how it prepared me for life, can never be overemphasized. It's not so much about the talent of our peers, a given, but rather about the integrity and values shared by so many. As I went on from that quote to write, in April 2003, more than 400 former employees of Procter & Gamble returned to Cincinnati, Ohio. It's almost the same number as here, for the largest ever reunion of P&G alumni. Some were CEOs and directors of other companies. Many came from distant parts of the United States and from outside the country. They spent 2 days getting reacquainted and learning from one another. Beyond the dinners and receptions, there were keynote speakers, panels, and breakout sessions. Why, I asked myself, would men and women who had left Procter & Gamble from 1 year to more than 30 years ago take the time to fly to Cincinnati or to Geneva for a reunion? When I asked them, they all said pretty much the same thing. They believe that an important part of who they are today, their standards, their values, their knowledge, and their capabilities, was developed during the time they spent at the company. They continue to believe in the purpose and values of the place, and they remain proud of their association with P&G and the high standards set for them. I went in to talk about that sense of community as the unique, most hard-to-duplicate characteristic of any organization. And I hope I'm not being presumptuous in expressing the hope that characterizes the feelings of the men and women who've joined here, many of whom I had a chance to see who I hadn't seen for years. Nigel Tina Reed, John Peoples, Claude Pappas, and many like Josie, who I'd never met before, and it was a great privilege. It's indeed a pleasure to be able to introduce my good friend, my dear friend, Dimitri Panayotopoulos. I've worked with Dimitri directly in one way or another, since we've stayed in close contact for 23 years. I first met him riding a camel in the desert in Egypt. He really built that organization from something very small to something very great. And indeed, on the shoulders of others, as he'd be the first to say that, he's done that in one place after another around the world. I worked with him for 8 years in China, where he was building on the great work of Peter and Shelley Hempstead, and turned that from a still very small company into one that I think is now over $6 or $7 billion in size. He went on to Eastern and Central Europe and took that on the shoulders of Herbert Schmitz and built that into a colossus that it is today. And then to build the fabric care business globally. and then picking up all of the GBUs in this company over the past year and bringing innovation to them, which you're going to see the results of and already are in the years ahead. Dimitri is one of the most dynamic, inspirational leaders I've ever known. He's built brands, he's built organizations, and he's allowed people to grow. He's courageous without limit. He's inspiring to the highest level. People who've worked for Dimitri will look back on that through the course of their entire life and say, I'm glad I had that opportunity to work with Dimitri Panayotopoulos. So it's with enormous pleasure that I introduce him here tonight. You all know him.
Okay, well, it's 11 o'clock, guys, so I hope you're ready. I will try and keep it briefer than I was originally going to keep it, because it's 11 o'clock, and I would like to get a chance for questions as well. Well, as I said, for those who heard me this afternoon, it's been quite a week. I mean, I left Monday morning, I was in Cincinnati, we had meetings, met with Bob, lots of other people, left in the evening, and then went on my trip to do a number of things around Europe, and then I got a phone call saying, now you have to do everything you're doing, but also do all Bob's trip as well. So that's what I've done. I've been going back and forth like a yo-yo, Brussels, Italy, this, that, doing all these, some were external meetings, so I had to do them. So it's been quite a week, and just like John didn't expect to introduce me, I didn't expect to be here to talk. But here I am. I would like to start by saying, obviously, you know, how shocked I was also. And I really feel for Bob McDonald. I mean, that is a horrible thing to happen, and the way it happened. You know, we've been around for 175 years. I think we've probably had 2 such things. But this one was actually a little worse because of all the, you know, animosity and everything else that was going on, all the, you know, Ackman and all the other things that you've been reading in the papers. And it's a hell of a stress for anybody. I mean, you know, you can't imagine to go through. And I feel bad, and I feel also responsible and accountable to an extent, as I know other P&G people do. So it's a terrible thing, and I've obviously written to Bob, and, you know, my heart goes to him. Now, some people have said to me, well, you know, why did they bring AG back? I mean, I heard it this evening. And, you know, does this mean that the P&G system of, you know, creating people from within is not good, and, you know, we don't have the right people? And I want to reassure you that we do. We have a number of generations who are being prepared to become CEOs of this company. And, you know, at my level, the people that are the group presidents that report to me, I know many of them will work for me for half their careers. And they are very good people, and any one of them could become a CEO, and even the generation after. And I can only imagine, because I wasn't in the boardroom when the decision was taken, unfortunately, but I can only imagine that, you know, they probably said, you know what, you know, this is one where we've got to be very careful, because a lot of the talk, if you remember before, was about, well, maybe it's time for P&G to get an outside CEO and so on. So I think they probably felt, you know what, whoever we appoint over these people, then, you know, it's going to continue. You know, was this the right decision? Should we have brought somebody from outside? You know, but these people were already part of that team, and so on and so on and so forth. I'm speculating, but and so let's do something which is probably better, which is bring back AG, who's done the job before, who's respected and did it well, and who's also written books, and you know, is well regarded outside, and you know, bring him back and you know, have him for a little while to work through the transition. And of course, I worked with AG for a number of years. When I had household care, which is half the company, I reported to AG. And more recently, I got the other categories. I think I support that decision. I think it's a good decision, and hopefully Ackman and others will go away, and we'll get on with, because it is a huge distraction for everybody, the board and us and all of us in P&G, and we can get on with, you know, growing this great company to new heights and getting the stock price up. So that's on that. Now, where do I start? With the numbers. I always start with the numbers because everything else is bullshit, frankly, and it's talking to ourselves. Let's start with the numbers. I won't show charts and stuff, although I do have some, but basically, in a nutshell, if you look at the half of the company that's household care, which is where a lot of you have worked, like laundry and, you know, home care and baby care and family care, tissue towel, and P&G Professional and Duracell, and P&G, I'll get it, healthcare, and what else is it? Pet care. That half of the company. It's about 42 billion in sales and about 7 billion after-tax profit. This year, the top line growth is going to be, this fiscal year, the top line growth is going to be about 5%. That gets us share growth. And the bottom line growth after tax is going to be plus 14% after tax. And that's pretty good. And the goal normally is to be at about plus 9%. That's what we like to do year in, year out. So we're having a very good year. And next year also, we're going to have similar numbers. So a very good year. So you can rest assured that it's doing very well. Now, unfortunately, and this is not talking out of school because you've seen it in analyst reports and so on, we have the other half, the beauty and grooming half, which is not doing so well. Now, to reassure you, it's going to be growth of about half that amount that I've talked for top line, so about 3%, and for bottom line around 6 or 7%, which is better than it was last year, and better than it was the year before, and next year it'll be even better. But it clearly isn't where it needs to be, no question. And also that growth that we have today is not building share, because that side of the market is growing, or those markets are growing faster, which is why we got into those businesses. So we need to fix that business. So what happened? And again, I'm going to be brief because it's obviously a complex subject. But I think a number of things. One is we made a lot of acquisitions, if you remember. We bought the Clairol business for 5 billion. We bought the Weller business for 8 billion. Then we bought the Gillette business for 54 billion. That included not just Gillette Shave Care, which Chip ran, but also it included Oral-B, it included Braun, it included Duracell, a number of brands. And in that whole integration, it was complicated, and very soon they all happened bang, bang, bang. We lost people, we lost expertise, which often happens with these integrations. And we also tried to get the synergies very fast because we paid a lot of money for some of these businesses. And in that, an organization structure, and Chip would back me up on this, was set up, which was well intended, which was to try and get the synergies quickly by putting all the resources, the CHOs they were called, the category home officers and so on, in one place, have them flow and so on and so forth. And in the process, we created a monster. And when I got there about a year ago, it was just. I looked at the results of the survey. We do an organization survey, and I read every single verbatim over the weekend. I think Chip and others saw some of them, and it was just horrific. I was just, kill this structure before it kills us. It was just awful. So if you think P&G is complicated, which we are, and I'll come to that in a minute, this was complexity at its worst. It was very internal. Focused. It was, the him and the her and all sorts of head to toe and all sorts of stuff. He's nodding. It was just horrific. It made me sick reading all that stuff. These are P&G people who were saying, my hands are handcuffed. I just can't do it. I can't get what I need done, and so on. So we undid that. It takes time. We undid that structure. We went back to accountability because also there was no accountability. They was all being run as one bonus system. So whether you did well in one category or not, you got the average. So if one year a business had a very good result, they still got the average. A business had a really bad result, they got the average. So there was a lot of things, and basically we undid it all. We got the academy back. We put the resources back in the businesses end to end, so they can get the R&D resources and so on. And now it takes time. We changed a lot of people, and not just the top people, but also people, the people that do the work, and we, R&D and product supply and many others. It also had a bit of an abundance mentality, not a scarcity mentality. It was a bit of an abundance mentality. So a lot of things went wrong. So the board knows all this. We've been through it. We've changed it all, and now we're starting to get some momentum. As I say, this year is better than last year and the year before. I won't talk about some of the indices we had in the past, and we will get it fixed, and we have to get it fixed. Why do we have to get it fixed? Apart from the fact that obviously, we need to get that half of the company, because it is half of the company growing. What happens is it hurts the other side too, because when you have, and that household care, fabric and home care in particular, you have commodity spikes every so often. And when you get that, then, you have to do stupid things like price up too much to offset. So you need to have more of a balance between businesses. So, if beauty and grooming was more healthy, then we wouldn't have had to price up as much and over-deliver on this side to offset that side and so on. So all sorts of reasons why we have to do it. Sometimes people ask me, but commodities also hit the competitors. Yeah, but they hit us more. A, because we're bigger, but B, because we have a lot more chemistry in our products. That's why we can make claims like Tide Pods. One pod is equivalent to 6 pods, or 1 cup of Tide or Ariel is equivalent to a whole bottle of the competitor, which we do. We go on TV saying these things. So, it was very difficult during those periods as well. So we have to get it fixed. Now, what are we doing to get it fixed? First of all, one of the reasons why, on the whole, household care has delivered good results is we've had innovation. Innovation is, and it was mentioned many times tonight, is our lifeblood. It's the most important thing. And when I go out and talk to people, 1, 2, and 3 is innovation. Everything else, and I'll talk about some of them, but innovation is the most important. This is how this company was built, whether it was Ivory, the floating bar in Ivory, the first synthetic detergent in Tide, Pampers, Swiffer, Febreze, all these things that we've come out new to the world products, but also big discontinuous innovations. And we have I don't think we'll put the chart up, but we have a chart that shows, how we do the innovation, starting with the different type, discontinuous innovation, the ongoing innovation, and so on. But we need innovation, and on beauty and grooming, we were already behind the likes of L'Oreal on innovation, and that business needs an ongoing stream of innovations. But with this structure, we basically just created more hurdles for ourselves. I'll mention a couple of the innovations just quickly. We've got a chart, I think, that shows some of the things. On household care, we have a bunch of them, which are really driving the business right now. Okay, this is one obviously you've heard about. Tide Pods and Ariel Pods now. This is a product which you just throw into the machine. It's got 3 chambers, very difficult to make. It dissolves in cold water. You can put it in a glass of cold water, it'll dissolve. It's the ultimate in cleaning and sustainability. When you have a product. When you go out, I go to consumers' homes all the time. When you have a wow, you know it immediately. It's a consumer obvious innovation. It's one that is very easy to use, fantastic results, and consumers just say, wow. We launched it about a year ago, go back to that one. We launched it about a year ago, the Tide Pods, and it's already $500 million in sales. And we've only launched it on one brand, and not even on the whole brand, just on some of the variants. So now we're going to launch it on more brands, obviously, and of course more countries. And it's going to go fast, because right now, as we speak, we're launching it in Belgium, in France, we're launching it in the UK, throughout Europe, we're launching it in Mexico and Brazil, we're launching it, and everywhere we launch it, it's doing extremely well. We're even launching it, for those of you who, like Claude Papas from know is here, in South Africa, because we are entering, and I think we have a chart for South Africa. We just launched laundry in South Africa. South Africa, Unilever has an 85 share or thereabouts of laundry. They've been there forever. This is we finally launched it. It's going to be a bloodbath, but we've launched everything. We've launched a high suds product. We've launched a low suds powder. We've launched a low suds liquid in that nice bottle there, and we've launched a pod as well. So we're going all guns blazing because we want to be sure we have the whole portfolio, as I've talked before. So it's going all guns blazing. So we're launching everywhere. It's going to be a huge success. It already is a huge success. That's one. We have another one called Downy Unstoppables. Maybe show the chart, which has a number of innovations, if you have it, because I'm flipping here a little bit. Downy Unstoppables, which is not that one. That was the, just go one more. Okay, this has them all, so why don't we do this one? So we have Downy Unstoppables there, which is a bead that you throw in with your pod, and consumers just love it. We've launched it in Japan. Fantastic. Another real incredible innovation, which is going to be huge. It's already 100 million, and we launched it much later than the pods, and it's just in the US, and it's going to be huge. We're launching it around the world. We've got a number of other innovations there, including the Bounty Dura towel, which is when you do the mopping around your sink, all you're doing is actually moving the germs around. This one is one where you can do it and then throw it away. So a number of great innovations. ZQL there, which is sleep for helping people who have difficulty sleeping. It's off to a great start, well ahead of objective, and so on. So a number of innovations. Now, that's household care. So they're doing well, and we've even launched I Am So Good, which is a lower tier, just in the market now, a lower tier. Remember I talked about portfolio and the importance of portfolio in my speech this afternoon. We've launched a lower tier irons because irons was an expensive product. This is an excellent product at a lower price. So a number of it. Cascade Platinum. Let me say a quick story on that one. We didn't have a business in Turkey, and this would be again Claude Papas and Laurent have get a lot of credit for this. We didn't have a dish business in Turkey. Lever and Colgate and others have been there for many years, and we launched about 2 years ago, and we're now market leader by launching. Within 2 years, we're market leader by launching some excellent products and, of course, excellent execution by the country as well. So we've got a number of these things going on. By the way, not only is that a great product, these pods and so on, but they're also, from a sustainability standpoint, incredible because there's very little water, less plastic, less room on the shelves, less room on trucks, therefore a lot less trucks and so on. So a lot of positives. We get consumers writing to us and saying, "Oh, this product is so fantastic. You know, I'm handicapped. I had trouble getting the product and putting the bottle with this heavy bottle into the thing. This thing, you just throw it in." So just incredible innovations. So what about beauty and grooming? Well, beauty and grooming, we're also starting to get some innovations, and I think we have one. We don't have them all here, but I think we have one with a couple of things. We've launched a few things in the US. Illumina Color. This is on the salon professional business, so the Vela business, where there hasn't been much innovation for a long time. So people who go and get their hair colored, but I tell you, this product is a wow. With consumers, with hairdressers, it is just the best product they've seen ever in this category. It's off to a great start. It's something we can bring to retail later on, but we're winning salons, and for the first time on the Vela business, we're really getting some momentum. We launched this Pantene Expert series in the black bottle there. Again, consumer wow, like the pods, immediately, consumer obvious innovation. This thing, for those people who have thinning hair, it thickens the hair. In fact, we say it's like adding 6,500 hair to your head. And no, but it is. And that's supportable. And so for those of you who want to try it, it's a great product. Great testimonials. And these are the kind of innovations we need. Off to a great start, still early days. We've launched Vidal Sassoon because we need, again, to have the portfolio. We've launched Olay. We've launched nails, product for nails, where you don't need a top coat under the CoverGirl name. It's just, again, one of those where it's a real wow. And I gave it to some of my older daughters, not my babies. And they said, you know, this is really good, Dad. And again, I always give it to the kids because they tell you they're really. If they say, you know, it's crap, Dad, this thing doesn't work, you know, then you know that there's a problem. But they really like it. So, you know, we're starting, and we're seeing sequential progress. Still a long way to go here. I'm watching and tracking the numbers, but believe me, we're going to bring this business back. So that's one. And so innovation. That's my number 1, 2, and 3 job. But of course, portfolio is key. Where we have innovation and a great portfolio, we command huge shares, 85, 90 shares where we have it. I mean, you know, we have a 90-plus share in the Balkans and Romania, which, again, Laurent is part of. We have it in Saudi Arabia, a lot of places you guys know well. On Pampers, on laundry, we have 85-plus shares when we have on Pampers and laundry and other categories. Even in China, on beauty care, we have, you know, which we got in first. We're bigger than all our competitors combined in China. We have, you know, a very big share, 60% or so, on hair care because we have the portfolio right. And there, we're starting to get the innovation that's working very well. So we have pockets, we just need to be faster. The other thing I'm working on is speed. We are incredibly slow. It's my biggest frustration. We come out with something, and it just takes forever to launch it around the world. So we've done a number of things to make sure that we get things faster. Fewer, bigger initiatives that we really drive fast around the world. And I'm proud to say that this product of pods is one that's going to go much faster than anything we've done before on laundry. Pampers, we have an initiative. I see Kevin there nodding his head, which is going to be worldwide in 6 months. That's a business, by the way, baby care, that's doing extremely well. We just hit 1.2 billion in China on baby care. I remember when when on Pampers, when $1.2 billion in sales. When I launched it, it was $9.97. The whole market was only 3 million cases. People were saying, what are you doing? Do something else. And we said, no, we've got to be here. We've got to make the market grow. 1.2 billion now in China for Pampers. So we've got a lot of pockets. We just need to go faster. I'm confident we can do it. We are complex, own up to it, no question. We had a project which we called simplification. It was all about trying to simplify. It's become the most complex project in Procter & Gamble because P&G people, want to add value and want to do things, and it just becomes complicated. The MDO GBU structure, believe me, I've lived in both worlds. There's pros and cons for both. I mean, when we were on a geographic basis, which is what we were for most of my career, when I worked in Egypt or China or even CEMEA, Central Eastern Middle East Africa, we had profit responsibility in the countries, the country was king and so on. But we were slow also in getting innovations around the world. It was a lot of not invented here. When I took over laundry, for example, global fabric care, in every country we had different formulations, different packaging, different advertising for the same brand, because it was all being done individually. And R&D resources were all working on all these little. Of course, the country managers loved it. They had the profit, and they also had their own R&D to do some kitchen chemistry and change everything. But that's not the way you go fast. So with the GBU structure, we can go a lot faster. And we need to make sure it's a balance, right? It's a balance. Top line, bottom line is a balance. North America, developing markets is a balance. We need to do both. So, we're working on that. There has been a lot of complexity in terms of overlap of people in the GBU doing MDO work and vice versa. We're working on that. We're working on cost savings, $10 billion. As you know, we're well ahead of our, and by the way, that is going to be a simplification in itself, because it's getting a lot of this overlap out. So it's not just costs that we're saving, but actually it's going to get a lot of this overlap out. So, we're working all these things. As I say, household care, we'll have another great year this fiscal year, great year. By the way, ahead of firm, for those of you who remember the firm forecast, ahead of firm. Beauty also, though, beauty and grooming, ahead of firm. So we went in with these targets, and we're ahead of those targets. So we're in control. You wouldn't think so, reading the papers, but we are. And I think we did announce that even when we announced this week that we were still in line with guidance. Unfortunately, you've got to look at the year, and that's why I talk the year. Quarter to quarter, and unfortunately these guys have a very short memory, and quarter to quarter, it doesn't always go like that. So for example, we got killed on one quarter, if you remember. Then in OND, which was the quarter before the last one, we beat the top line and the bottom line by a lot. And the stock price went shooting all the way up to 85, right? Or whatever it was, 84. Because we had one great quarter. Even though we said, yeah, but the next quarter, because we're talking the year here, the next quarter, will not be that. So last time we got killed, it came down again. And by the way, on that one, we were within guidance on the top line. We were and we were ahead on the bottom line. We were actually $88 million ahead on the bottom line. So, so they have a short memory, but the good news is they were killing us a year ago. We were heroes in OND. We're not so good now. But overall, I can assure you, we're working on the right things. We're going to have a good year this year. We'll have an even better year next year. You'll see much better stuff coming on the beauty side. And once we'll never have every business doing perfectly, of course. But just having more balance will give us a very good year. So I'm confident. I apologize for all the horrible things that you've heard about your company. But believe me, we weren't as good as they said we were when we were brilliant, and we weren't as bad as they said we were. It's a journey. It's not because Ackman, bought some $2 billion in stock that we all suddenly started working harder and, worked over the weekend to get Tide Pods out or whatever. I mean, these things have been worked. It's a journey. But we're not satisfied, and we will make sure that we go back to the company that you should all be proud of. And I'm confident that we will. And we will have, as I said, a much better year. And if we can get that beauty business growing, which I'm confident we will, we're making sequential progress, we'll be in very good shape. Thank you. I tried to cut it down. I had more remarks to make, but I think, given 11 o'clock, I try to be fast. So if you have any questions, I'd be happy to take them. Sorry? Yeah, just a few. Okay. Yes.
So I have a following question
Yeah.
in terms of the recent changes at Procter & Gamble. I left P&G quite recently. It was just last year that I left. And I wanted to put a question which I think also some of the persons in this room and some of these persons outside of this room would think about. And this is regarding the general policy of Procter & Gamble is growth within. Now, there are people, we are these people who left the company, we gained a new experience, we expanded our skills, and me myself, it may be a little bit weird, but I'm sometimes waking up in the morning and I think, oh, I don't go to Acacia's, I don't go to a P&G office. And the general HR policy is that there is no recruitment, so the people who left Procter & Gamble, they cannot come back. And in terms of the coming, changes, what is happening, also on the top, is there any chance you think that, you would reconsider this, that the people actually who left the company, they went to the new companies and then they gain a new experience and they can bring value to Procter & Gamble, that they could join again the company? Thank you very much.
Okay, well, we just did it with AG, right? And but I think that we're open to anything. We have actually taken people back. We do have a policy that says that as long as you left within a certain time frame, I guess now it's become 4 years because AG was away for 4 years. But around, if you've left within a certain time frame, so you're not totally out of touch, and you left on good terms, and you were also performing well, and left on good terms, and you didn't go to a direct competitive company, then we have taken people back. So, sure, please, go for it. Go for it. Why not? All right? Question?
All right, Paul Fox is going to kill me. I'm sorry, Paul, but I have to ask a question. Dimitri.
Why is Paul Fox going to kill it?
I-
You're asking me the question.
Yeah, I know. Well, okay. You ask him later, Dimitri. Okay. So I spent 18 years at P&G, and I left 3.5 years ago. The thing I'm very interested about is you're talking a lot about innovation, and I'm wondering how you're thinking. And it sounds a lot like product innovation and potentially packaging or new form innovation. How are you thinking about business model innovation in this digital world, and in a world where agility is not just essential, it's imperative?
Well, I thought I talked a little bit about that this afternoon. But, we're looking at innovation very broadly. As I said, I cut my talk because it's now 11:30. So I cut it somewhat, but to the bare bones. But of course, we define innovation extremely, as broad as possible. It's got to be organizational, innovation. We have done a number of things. For example, we've now set up a separate group, a new brand creation group, so we don't distract the going business with the innovations that are going now. And Jorge Mesquita leads that. That's a fairly new thing, reporting to me across the businesses. So we do a lot of. The GBO MBO structure was an innovation in itself. I don't think any other company would be able to do that. I think Alpha Promote from Within allows us to do that structure. And of course, as I talked this afternoon, the world is changing so fast. Marketing, I don't know if it's dead, but it's certainly changing extremely fast. And so we have to be ahead of the game. And I told you, my son at Google tells me, Dad, you guys invented brand management and everything. You guys are behind. You've got to, get on the. And we are. We're working to do. But so no, absolutely, innovation in every product supply. A lot of innovation going on there. How we deliver product. We've gone through this intermodal system, working not trucks but going to trains. Innovation in every area. Everybody in Procter & Gamble, wherever they work, has to bring innovation. And if you have great ideas, then please bring them to us and we will consider them. But, everybody's got to innovate. Doesn't matter what job you do. Clean the toilets. You've got to innovate.
Last one. And here it is in this corner. Hi, Dimitri.
Peter
Smith.
Mr. Peter Smith.
Yes, how are you?
You
Listen, the last 10 years, one thing.
Are you still living in Singapore in that nice
still
house?
Still living in Singapore
In that black and white?
and selling chocolate, yes.
Selling chocolate, good.
One of the things that dramatically changed, Dimitri, in the last 10, 12 years is the organizational structure. You mentioned GBU, MDO. Where are we there? Did we make it very complex, huge, non-moving Goliath, or do you come to a conclusion that we have to do something about that?
No, we are doing something about it. I thought I tried to cover that, and maybe I was a bit too quick. I said, we went from a geographic structure, which is the one I grew up in, and you grew up in Egypt. When I was running it, we had the profit, we had everything. China, we had everything. SEMIA, and we've evolved to the GBU MDO structure. It's true that it became complicated. We ended up with, as I said, salespeople trying to do marketing work, trying to do sales work, finger pointing, and so on. So we've worked to get rid of all that overlap so that we really make sure. And some countries doing it extremely well. I mean, I go to a lot of places where they take the GBU plans and they amplify and build that. And by the way, some of the best people we have, and a lot of them are in Laurent's empire, are our distributors. The Abu Dawuds of this world and so on, who work exclusively on P&G, but they're not actually P&G employees. And they take the GBU plans and they work and amplify and do the job that they're supposed to do, and they do it with perfection. I go out with them and they take pictures of me next to these huge displays. All the checkouts have our products on them. Just incredible work, and they don't complain. I mean, there could be sand in the product that they've got there for all they know. They say, hey, this thing, we built this display, Dimitri, but it's not selling. I said, yeah, we forgot, we put sand in it. But I mean, they don't complain. Whereas the P&G organizations often will start to say, yeah, but this is not strong, rather than just getting on with the job they're supposed to do. So a lot of that we've worked to get rid of that overlap. And, it's not perfect for sure. No system is perfect, but making progress, and the results at the end of the day, whatever I say, the results is what matters. All right, thank you very much.
Ed, I have something to say. I don't know how to use this mic. I want to thank Dimitri for what he's just done. Dimitri, we're very proud of you. You come from Geneva. Samir, Sharif, thank you. I know you're in a really tough position right now. All of us have a lot of questions. We're all still here. Thank you. Thank you.
Hello, everybody. My name is Mark Bueller, and I'm part of the local organizing committee. Thank you. I was wondering how to start to say this, but I think Gujarat Das did the perfect things by saying that the biggest honor is being recognized by your peers. And that's exactly what I would like to do. On behalf of the local committee, we would like to recognize all the hard work and the special attention that she's done. I would like to ask José to come here. Just a couple of words, sorry. Now, a couple of things I would like to say about it is that first thing is when Bill got sick, José took over the baton of organizing this reunion. I think she did a great job at it. One thing that I commend her for is basically that she has this very contagious optimism, and I think she basically carried the whole committee along with her optimism, and for that we are eternally grateful for her. So I think a lot of the things that everybody's happy about and all the results that we've done through here, a big part is obviously from the committee as well, but I think it really would not have happened the way it happened without José. So thank you to her.
I didn't expect that. No, I didn't expect that very much. But I visit Bill every day, and I will be with Bill tomorrow. And I think that
I'm here because he asked me to come over. But it will be midnight, and I will be turning in pumpkins. But before that, you don't know, but in 2 years' time, if you think that I have a French accent, the next guy who will take over the reunion is Mr. Raoul Lamus. I will invite it over because I have to give to him something too. Listen, Raoul. Irene just arrived from Florida, and we thought that the next reunion will happen in Florida. So the people who have never visited Florida, Raoul will invite you. And on top of that, we ask everyone, we did several frames to take picture. No one took a picture of themselves. So I give you the frame and ask people to take picture of themselves. Yes, like this. You see that? It's like this. Raoul, it's up to you to make the guests coming in your place.
Thanks a lot. Thanks a lot. It's a great honor, a great pleasure. Josie tells me that I got a Latin accent. I do. But that's something to get prepared for Florida. You know, lots of Latin. I mean, we really hope to have to incorporate the Latin American organization into this meeting. I'm honored to be your servant leader for this meeting. I mean, it's not up to me, so I do hope your help. I got a lot of P&G terms reinvented, so how high is up? I would ask for the sponsors. I mean, plus 50, plus 100%. I mean, so please sponsor me or sponsor us in our meeting. Levi's, Chuck. I mean, we would take a good sponsorship. So I'm really happy to take it from here. Big shoes to fill. I mean, great meeting. So we have a big challenge to make it even better, and I'm proud to take that challenge. And lastly, and just to finish, I love candid feedback. I mean, from P&G people. I know I asked the worst question of the total meeting, you know. So for the next 2 years, I need to prepare myself or to try to see how to respond to the question, what happened before the Big Bang? I mean, I had a theory that it came God, so I hope that God help us planning the next meeting. Thanks.
Okay, so that that brings us to the end of this event, Miami in 2015. But just so you know, we haven't lost all of our training. We're going to do a test market in the meantime. So in September of 2014, we're going to do a regional event in Shanghai, and if that works, that will be 2017. Listen. We've had a long night. I want to thank everybody again. The committee did a great job. I want to thank all of you. And I just hope you have a wonderful stay in this wonderful city. And thank you again for all of your support. This is a great organization, and it's all because of you folks. Thank you. Good night.